What's up, guys? Another Sabbath day Torah reading, Exodus 2. Now a man from the house of Levi went and married a daughter of Levi. The woman conceived and bore a son. And when she saw that he was beautiful, she hid him for 3 months. Now, this child is Moses, so Moses was a Levite. That's something I never thought about until reading this just now. But when she could hide him no longer, she got him a wicker basket and covered it over with tar and pitch. Then she put the child into it and set it among the reeds by the bank of the Nile. His sister stood at a distance to find out what would happen to him. I always read this before as her sister, like the sister of Moses' mother, but it was his sister. The daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe at the Nile, with her maidens walking alongside the Nile. And she saw the basket among the reeds, and sent her maid. And she brought it to her. When she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the boy was crying. And she had pity on him, and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children." Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, this is another part that I just picked up on too, that I never realized reading through this before. Then his sister, Moses' sister, who was watching, not one of the maids, said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and call a nurse for you from the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for you?" Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go ahead." So the girl went and called the child's mother. See, I knew before that Moses' mother was the one that was called to nurse him, but I never realized it was his sister that said that to Pharaoh's daughter and went and got her. Then Pharaoh's daughter said to her, to Moses' mother, "Take this child away and nurse him for me, and then I will give you your wages." So the woman took the child and nursed him. The child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she named him Moses, and said, "Because I drew him out of the water," which is awesome if you realize what water represents. Water represents people. I drew him out of the people. It's like resurrection. And there's types and shadows in one of the Gospels, when it speaks about I think the wedding at Cana, drawing, and there's types and shadows that are similar to this, with drawing out of the water. And also Psalm 18, David said, "You drew me out of many waters." Speaking of people, not actual waters. Now it came about in those days, when Moses had grown up, that he went out to his brethren, and looked on their hard labors. And he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his brethren. So he looked this way and that, and when he saw that no one was around, he struck down the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. He went out the next day, and behold, 2 Hebrews were fighting with each other. And he said to the offender, "Why are you striking your companion?" But he said, "Who made you a prince or a judge over us? Are you intending to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" Then Moses was afraid and said, surely the matter has become known. So he didn't realize that people knew that he killed the Egyptian and hit him. And they said that, so he thought everyone probably knew about it. When Pharaoh heard of this matter, see, everyone did know about it. When Pharaoh heard of this matter, he tried to kill Moses. But Moses fled from the presence of Pharaoh and settled in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came to draw water, and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. It's interesting. 7 daughters, like the 7 churches. Then the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And Moses, see, I haven't seen too much in this chapter as far as types and shadows. There might be more in here that I'm not seeing, but Moses is a type. It's like a foreshadowing of Jesus. Like God told the Israelites that he's going to raise up a prophet like Moses. And that's who they were to believe in. Now, I was speaking of Yeshua, Jesus. And then the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moses stood up. And when Jesus stands up, right now he's sitting at the right hand of the Father, but when he stands up, that's when everything happens. That's when the destruction happens. That's when the resurrection happens. That's when the greatest earthquake in the history of the world happens. And millions or billions of people die. 100-pound hailstones, all that. When he stands up and comes in the clouds. But Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. Helped the 7 daughters, which represent the 7 churches. And watered their flock, which represents believers. When they came to Reuel, their father, he said, "Why have you come back so soon today?" So they said, An Egyptian delivered us from the hand of the shepherds. And what is more, he even drew water for us and watered the flock. He said to his daughters, "Where is he then? Why is it that you have left a man behind? Invite him to have something to eat." Moses was willing to dwell with the man, and he gave his daughter Zipporah to Moses. And she gave birth to a son, and he named him Gershom. For he said, "I have been a sojourner in a foreign land." So that's the first son of Moses, Gershom. Now it came about in the course of many days that the king of Egypt died. And the sons of Israel sighed because of their bondage. And they cried out. And their cry for help because of their bondage rose up to God. So God heard their groaning. And God remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God saw the sons of Israel. And God took notice of them. And that's the end of Exodus 2. May God bless you guys.